Hello and welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new here, my name is Danielle Gray. I am a manifestation and mindset coach, transformational teacher, and spiritual mentor here on YouTube and the various social medias. And I welcome you back or welcome you for the first time. If this is the first time you're ever catching me and we're already on vlog episode number 4, I'll get you caught up a little bit, but I will also leave the link below to the other vlog episodes if you happen to be coming across this one without being up to speed. Basically, my family and I are in the middle of relocating to Nicaragua. At this point of recording, we are T-minus 6 days until we leave. We are actually at this time next week, we will be probably crossing or approaching or dealing with the Costa Rican Nicaraguan border as we go to our new home. So I have started this vlog series in an effort to not only give myself an outlet to process things and discuss what's going on, but also I have a lot of followers in my reality that had a lot of questions about the move. And I thought, you know what better way than to share via video diary. And then also one of my main motivations for doing this series is because as you know, the name of my channel is Manifest Your Best Life, right? And my main motivation for pretty much everything I do is to inspire you to live your best life, to go unapologetically after your goals and dreams and create anything that you want, using, overcoming mindset and using the law of attraction, the law of assumption and manifestation and the spiritual realm and the science behind it and all of that, right? And I realize fully that, moving to the middle of the jungle in a developing country is not necessarily everybody's cup of tea or, bag or whatever. But I do know that everybody deserves and is worthy of living their best life, no matter what that looks like for you. So I hope that what you get from my channel and from my teachings and from my vlog series and all of it from me in general, from any of the resources down below in the description, is that you understand that I'm not special, right? Like, I'm leaning in and doing this afraid too. And I want to share candidly what that looks like so that you can do it as well. And that you understand it's safe and that the universe supports what you set out to accomplish, whether it is move to the jungle, move to a new country, buy a house, start a new job, start an entrepreneurship, style business, or whatever it may be, have a baby, leave a relationship that doesn't serve you, find a relationship that does serve you, repair a relationship you're already in, heal traumas from childhood, whatever it is, you deserve to feel as best as you possibly can, because that's what life is about. And that's what I hope to do here on this channel. So today I want to talk about navigating other people's opinions. Now, for me specifically, I'm going to be talking about navigating people's opinions around our decision to move to Nicaragua, because it is, I'm not going to lie to you. I kind of like it when somebody asks me, well, where are you moving? And we say Nicaragua, and they give me this like, what kind of face? But it's funny, the timing of it, because the other day I sat down, I had the opportunity to record the first 3 vlog episodes. I just recorded them back to back. And I literally was setting up to record this episode, and then I got interrupted, and then I just didn't get back to it until today. And it's funny, I just realized as I was kind of gearing up to sit down and do this on the floor of where my office used to be, because of course we've sold all of our things, we've liquidated all of our assets and everything. I realized that the reason I got interrupted the other day and didn't have the opportunity to record again until today is because an interaction I had yesterday was very interesting. And now it gives me a lot of fuel for the conversation I want to have here today. So just another, my most recent vlog episode published was episode 3, where I talked about how the universe is always supporting. Maybe that was the second one. It doesn't matter. It was one of it was the vlog episode 2. My apologies. Vlog episode number 2, I talked about how the universe has been consistently and constantly showing up for us and supporting us and giving us confirmation and messages and signs and symbols that we are going in the right direction. And this is no different, because if I had recorded this episode the other day, I wouldn't have had the very recent interaction that will help me drive my point home today. So with that being said, we have had a lot of opinions thrown at us, right? And of course, it's become, I'm going to be very honest with you. I have never actually on my own heard negative things about Nicaragua. It's other people who have heard negative things about Nicaragua that then project their fear onto us. And I've really come to the conclusion that ultimately it's a case of people being, there's a couple of things going on. It's a case of people being uncomfortable with us being comfortable doing something so reckless, people would say, right? Because we've not been to this country. We don't know what it's like to live in a developing country. We've literally sold all of our belongings. And a lot of people just don't have the balls to do something like that. So they're projecting their, what's the word I'm looking for? They're projecting their uneasiness of doing something so adventurous onto us and trying to bring us back down to realizing that it's not safe and we shouldn't do it. And how can you do that? And what are you going to do about this and that and the next thing? But it's also, and I was a victim to this for some time, and I did kind of talk about this in episode 1. We as humans get comfortable being comfortable, right? And so this is the only life I've ever known. First world country, west coast of Canada. Like I said in episode 1, I only moved, the house I grew up in from 0 to 13 was down the street from the house I grew up in from 13 to 21. And then when I was 21, I moved into this house, which is about 35 minutes from both my childhood houses and the basement suite of my parents-in-law's house. So I've never been away from a set of parental figures, even though I don't need that. It's just, I've never been away from a set of that. I've never moved out on my own. I've never moved out of this. I mean, yeah, the city I moved out of. I grew up in Burnaby, now I'm in Maple Ridge, and now we're moving to a third world country. But it's just like, most people, when they ask us where we're moving, they expect me to say something like, for those of you who are aware with, where the Fraser Valley is in BC, they're expecting me to say, Langley, or maybe somewhere in the Kootenays, or maybe somewhere up north, or maybe somewhere in Alberta, or somewhere else in Canada. They are definitely not expecting me to say the middle of Central America. I'm moving to the middle of the jungle, right? And so the interaction we had yesterday was just a perfect example of how people like to project their shit onto you, because my husband and I, it was our 10th wedding anniversary yesterday. We've been together for 13 years. Officially the Friday before that, August 26th, was our 13th dating anniversary, and September 2nd was our 10th wedding anniversary. And we didn't do that much to celebrate because we're now carless. We're kind of homebound until we leave. Plus I had people coming in and picking stuff up that they purchased from us, various places and whatever else. So we didn't really get a chance to go do anything, which is fine. It doesn't matter. But so at one point, most of the people in the house, because my sister-in-law is visiting here from Nicaragua right now, and she goes home on the 7th, and then we follow behind her on a 2 days later on the 9th, landing in Nicaragua on the 10th. So they all went for a walk, and my husband and I were going to stay here because we had one more person coming to pick something up and whatever. And so we decided we were going to go for a walk too. And so we go out and walk, the two of us, and first we meet the house next to us just got sold, and we finally met the new owners, and it was actually people who had come by our garage sale a few weeks ago. And so we were kind of reacquainting with them, and they were kind of asking some questions about our move, and they were very excited for us and thought it was really cool. And they're, good for you. Life is too short. Go take advantage of the adventure. Like I've said, my sister-in-law and brother-in-law very generously offered us the opportunity of a lifetime. Like, what am I going to say? No, thank you. So they were very supportive of the whole thing. And I mean, not that I really care what their opinion is, but they were very supportive and thought it was very cool. And, thought that was all fine and good. And we had, that conversation, and then we kept walking. We were going actually to the liquor store down the street. My husband and I almost never drink, but we decided, whatever, let's go for a walk, go to the liquor store, get a couple of drinks, and we'll drink them on the way home. So we were walking home from the liquor store, drinking our, our liquor out in public like teenagers. It was pretty funny. But anyway, on the way to the liquor store, then we run into this other woman. And I don't know who this woman is. I recognize her, but I figure it's because we've run into her some other time in the past I mean, especially lately, we've been doing a lot of walking. We're homebound, right? So we basically anything we're going to do within walking radius. We did take the bus one time, but we like to get out and get exercise anyway. So anyway, I recognize this woman, but she's never spoken to us before. I don't know her name. I don't know who she is. I don't, at this moment yesterday, when I'm reflecting on it, I can't recall how I know this person. It flashed in my mind that maybe she's like some past teacher of my husband's or something, because he grew up around here, right? So we frequently are running into people from his childhood, from his teenage years, teachers, friends, siblings of friends, etc., right? So I don't know who this woman is. And she's power walking, and then she sees us and she stops and she goes, "Derek, what are you guys doing?" And she starts basically berating us about our decision to move. And I'm like, who is this broad? Like, I don't know who this person is, but she sure got a lot of opinions she wants to share with us about our move. And she's, isn't Nicaragua dangerous? And, isn't there a lot of cartel and all this? And I don't know who this chick is. And I'm not being rude to her or anything, but I don't know who she is. And I'm saying, well, and my husband and I are, standing our ground, and we're both saying, well, there's a lot of misinformation out there too. And yeah, I don't think Nicaragua is known as being one of the safest places in the entire world, but my sister-in-law has been there for almost 4 years, and she's never seen any of the things that people say happen on a regular basis, because most of it's bullshit, right? Or it's one person's terrible experience, just like with anywhere. But I'll tell you, just let me pause this story for a second. I'll tell you where I live right now. Just a few weeks ago, we were woken up by an Amber Alert because there's some loose gunman who's just been out and shot 4 different people in 4 different places in one town, like 2 towns over from us. And they're saying, we don't know where he is. Apparently this Amber Alert went all the way to at least like Revelstoke or something, which for those of you who are not aware is like 4 or 5 hours away from where I am, right? Like this Amber Alert went far and wide looking for this guy. So it's like, this is not a safe place to live either. There's constantly shootings over in Surrey and over in Burnaby and downtown Vancouver. And somebody just got killed by gun just a few days ago, literally across the street, like down the street and across the street by my son's elementary school. So it's like, I actually hear more crazy things going on here than I hear going on there. Now, that may change a little bit as we get down there and we're more involved. And I don't watch the news, so that obviously plays a factor too. But my point being, it's not like I live in some kind of safe haven, right? I don't live in a bad part of town either. We live in a very nice neighborhood, but there are bad people all over the place. And so you're not going to avoid that no matter where you are. And it's not like where we are is really any safer. There's people just the other day, my son was upstairs watching the news with his grandparents and saw that some little girl, she's like, I don't know, 8 or 10 or whatever, got abducted from some guy in a van. And I think she ended up being found dead. Like, it's not a safe, like, my point, I don't mean to like fearmonger. I'm just saying, like, where we are is not, we're not, it's not like bad things don't happen here, right? So anyway, that's not going to be the reason why I don't go somewhere. And then anyway, she's going on about the cartel and isn't this, that, and the next thing. And I said, well, I mean, maybe that's bad news for people who do drugs and stuff, but I'm not going to partake in the drug trade. And I said, I also, yeah, okay, it's not safe to walk around at night as a woman, but I wouldn't walk around by myself at night as a woman here either. You know what I mean? Like, that's just not something I'm going to do. So where I live is completely moot. I'm not going to do that no matter where I am, because why would I do that? A, because it's not safe, and B, because I'd rather be with my husband and my son. Like, what reason would I have to be walking around? Anyway, I'm worked up. So she's going on about this and the drug trade and then she starts to go into, well, I'm glad you don't have any real estate to sell because you won't be able to get back into this market. And I was like, well, that kind of depends on where we want to go back to and how much money we have, right? Because of course she's assuming that we don't have any money and we're never going to have any money. And like, this is the kind of person, not just her, but like the majority of the people who are giving us their opinions, unsolicited, let me say, unsolicited opinions about what we're doing and how they say it's, is or isn't a good idea, are also people who are plugged into the system. They're right in the matrix. They don't have, like, I'm an entrepreneur, right? One of the things that I love about being an entrepreneur is that I see that there is no limit. One of the girls I follow, Melanie Ann Layer, has this great quote that she said on some training a long time ago. Now it's become kind of a staple in the community, that says, the sky isn't even the limit, right? Like, there is no limit to how much potential I can, unwrap, how much money we can earn, the things we can do, the things we can see. Like, I regardless of money, I just don't see limitation the way most people do, right? I don't see limitation at all. I believe that if you really want to do something, you're going to find a way to make it happen, or the universe is going to conspire with you to make it happen, right? I don't think the same way, and my husband doesn't think the same way as a lot of people do. So there's that. Anyway, and then she's going into, well, are there schools there? Well, no, like, no, there's no schools in all the whole, of course there's schools, right? And I said, no, of course there's schools, there's many schools, but we're going to homeschool for grade 1 and take that time to adapt as a family and spend that time, really bonding together, and also researching schooling options to see what best suits our family and our son and our lifestyle and what, whatever we see fit. And then somewhere in the conversation, it comes up that she knows my sister-in-law, Sasha, too. And I thought, okay, well, I figure she's watching somebody on Facebook. Like, at this point, I still don't know who this woman is. I know that she obviously is familiar with both my sister-in-law and my husband. And I thought, okay, well, whatever. Because at one point I said something about, Sasha. I was like, it's not like she's been trying to falsely talk Nicaragua up so that we'll come down and like persuade us to come down. She's been very open and honest and not sugarcoated any of it. Like, she's very honest about how often, it's too hot to, function, and how much it rains, and what the poverty is like, and how easy or not accessible it is to get things that you are accustomed to having here in Western civilization, and what kind of gong show it is to speak to anybody at the government, and that the roads are not paved, and what it looks like to get your groceries, and how often you have to drive an hour and a half into Managua to see somebody in, actual town to get, more Americanized stuff, or, get a hair appointment or whatever. Right. She's just been very open and honest. And I said this to her, and she goes, yeah, no, Sasha doesn't seem like somebody who would sugarcoat. And I said, okay, well, she knows these people. She knows the family enough to realize that Sasha's not going to sugarcoat. So I still don't know who this woman is, but she's standing here. We were talking for like at least 10, 15 minutes, and she was just giving us the gears, one question after the other, blah, blah, blah. And then she says, are there other kids there that Dominic can play with? Well, like, no, he's going to be the only child in all of Nicaragua. Like, come on, of course there's other kids. And we said, it's actually very family friendly. I would say it's actually sounds like more family community focused than anything I've seen here. Like, they have kids art nights on, I don't know, Wednesdays. And then there's family pizza night on Fridays. And this is just in the little town we're going to be in. And a lot of the families meet on Sundays at the beach to go surfing, and just like, it just seems like a very family oriented place. Right. And she's just going on about all this stuff, and how she basically is just saying it's a terrible idea to go, is basically what she was getting at. And then finally she says, okay, well, all the best, and, see you around or whatever. And then we walk away, and my husband, and I was like, who is that? And she's like, well, that's my cousin. And I was like, well, considering first of all, it blows me away that it's a cousin, a family member. Because like I said to you at the beginning of the video, we've seen her, like, I recognized her. We've seen her before. We've definitely walked past her as we're going down to the little market or over to the coffee shop or whatever. She's never said hi, never even made eye contact. So you can imagine how stunned I was to learn that she's a family member of my husband. So, I mean, basically she's my family, right? I don't even know this chick. And she's here giving me the fifth degree about my life choices. I don't even know who this person is, right? I just couldn't believe it. And so, like I said, it was just a really good example of how people just feel the need to give you their opinions, and it's just goofy. Like, and then the other day I find out that my own grandmother is, feeding me one set of information about how she's, happy for us about our new adventure. But she does say, I feel bad for your parents and for, Derek's parents, because they're not going to have you. And, Dominic's not going to have any family, which is not true, because he's going to have his parents and his aunt and his uncle. But anyway, not that I see a whole lot of my family anyway, because a lot of them, like extended family, because a lot of them are not, on my channel anyway. So we already don't speak, or they just live far away and I only communicate with them over the internet anyway. So that relationship's not going to change, because I can just continue to text message you from the beach. Right. And anyway, she's, I guess, feeding me some, semi good vibes. And then she's basically to other people saying what she actually thinks, which is that it's a terrible idea. And she thinks it's stupid that we're moving, basically. And it's like, okay, well, that's nice. My own grandmother. My other grandmother, very supportive, very supportive, very excited, thinks it's really cool, thinks it's, obviously she's not going to pack up and move, and she never had the balls to pack up and move somewhere, at all, let alone somewhere exotic like this. But at the same time, she loves to travel. She understands that life is too short. And, she's used to travel a lot, and now she's very frail, and she hasn't been able to travel for several years now. And I think she really does miss being able to get on a plane and go somewhere. And so she always is saying to us, travel as much as you can. The world is a beautiful place, and you're going to miss out if you just stay in one spot. Right. So what better way to take advantage than to actually move and experience a whole different way of life. Right. So it's a very mixed bag. And a lot of the people that follow me on social media, a lot of the people that I have in my world online, are very, very supportive, very excited for us, and have nothing but good things to say. But I will tell you, the people in our lives who, especially the ones who are directly affected, really have a lot of opinions about it. And I'll tell you, the whole, and this is something my husband and I talked about last night, which is something I wanted to bring here today. It's something that my husband and I were talking about after we passed this cousin yesterday, is, having these kinds of almost debates about our decisions, with various people. It really is, it's very eye-opening, let's say. This is what I want to say, I think. Hopefully I can iterate it properly. It's very eye-opening to see personally how steadfast you can be in your belief that it's a good idea when somebody is coming at you, right? And it's not to the point where I want to be defensive of my decision. I mean, it is kind of like that, I guess, because I am defending my position in what we're doing. But at the same time, it's really giving me an opportunity to really get clear on how I actually feel. Because in these moments where I am defending my decision to move, I don't have anything in me that feels conflict with what I'm saying and how I'm feeling, right? Like, it's not like I don't feel like I'm out of integrity with how I actually feel about it. I definitely do align fully with what I'm saying to defend my position to the person is how I actually feel. Like, there's no disconnect. I'm not like lying to myself about how I actually feel. We are very, very happy and proud of our decision. And I'm not going to lie to you, I'm very proud of us for doing something that's so out of the norm, because so many people are just so comfortable being comfortable, and they will never do something like this. And it is life-changing. It does affect a lot of people. It will change our lives. And I know that we are going to grow as people, both as a collective family and individually, very much so from this experience. Because how can you not? I've already noticed as we've been, I think it's a combination of things, but as we've been purging the things we own now and considering the place we're going, like my sister-in-law says it kind of simply as Nicaragua is very minimalistic, right? There's just not a lot of conveniences available. Like, you can order on Amazon and it comes through however, but it takes 4 to 6 weeks for the things to get there. So it really gives you an opportunity to think, do I actually need this? Or is that just a convenience that I'm used to? Right. And she's been talking about how, like, she drove through the landfill and was showing us that, and how they just, there's just stuff thrown in the landfill. And landfills are a very eye-opening experience, whether you've been one locally to where you are now or looking at another, country. It's just very eye-opening to see how wasteful. And then, like I say, the experience of purging all of our stuff and seeing it out on the driveway for the garage sale and then posting it on various things, and just how much gets thrown away or recycled or whatever. It's just like, who needs to consume all of this stuff, And so the whole experience has been very eye-opening already, and has already transformed my habits as a consumer and my habits as a human being, right? Like, I find myself much more consciously consuming things, not only where they come from, but then where they're going to end up too. You know what I mean? Like, one thing that Sasha's been saying a lot is the people of Nicaragua, because most of them are poor, right? They're living on just dollars a day. They are very, not frugal. Frugal is not the word I want to use. Resourceful. They reuse everything. They keep and reuse everything, and they make amazing things. Like, she was saying that one of her gardeners made out of an old rag and cement, made like planters, and she gave some, I forget what it was, so the story's not going to be very good. She gave something to a gardener to use for something, but then he ended up turning it into like a bookshelf entertainment system somehow for his home, like some kind of organization thing. And they're just very resourceful. They don't want to waste, right? And it's really got me thinking about all the things that we waste and consume, and how society wants us to spend more money and consume more things. And especially with the online coaching industry, this is something that makes me crazy too, is how it's like become this game of like showing how much money you make by what you can buy. So it's like, I'm going to spend money to show you how much money I have to spend, but it's all for what it looks like, right? And it's just like, and I'm not bashing anybody. I'm not saying, luxury things are not good. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying, for me, it's been very eye-opening about the way that I consume things, and how materialistic I was, and how attached I was to attachment, right? And how attached I was to comfort, and how attached I was to convenience. And one of the things I'm really looking forward to our move is how the focus is very much on what's actually important, which is enjoying people you love, spending time with yourself, spending time with nature, getting back to the basics of what life is actually about. You know what I mean? And it's not just about all the things you can buy and consume. It's about how you spend your time and how you live your life. And that's the thing I think people just don't understand. And which is why we continuously have to keep navigating outside opinions, is like, they're still looking at it from the wrong angles, right? Because ultimately for us, it's about quality of life over ease of consumption, really. You know what I mean? And it's about giving our son the best possible life he can have, and the best adventure he can have, and the best of everything that he can have. Like, he's an adventurous kid, and he's like so pumped about it. And I am just really excited to see him thrive in an environment that really does allow him to capitalize on who he really is, right? So it has been challenging to navigate other people's opinions, in the sense that there's always somebody has something to say. But you know what? Isn't there always somebody that has something to say, no matter what you're doing? There's always somebody who's going to have something to say. So I figure I'm just going to live the life that I want to live, and anybody can say whatever they want about it. At least I'm happy, and you can watch on the sidelines. Or you can let me lead the way, allow me to inspire you to do something that scares you a little bit. Because like I've said in many of my episodes already, in the first 3 episodes, we are leaning all the way in with full faith and trust that we're going in the right direction, right? Like, I'm relying fully on the universe here to that this is the right way to go. And like I said in a past episode, we are getting consistent and constant, over and over and over, messages and signs and confirmations that this is the right direction, and we are making the right choice, and this is a good idea for right where we are right now. I don't know what my life looks like in 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, but that's okay. And that's, for the first time ever, it's okay. And I don't need to know what it looks like. I'm just excited to go along for the ride and just live every moment to the fullest. Like, that's what life is about, is being in the present moment and just enjoying today while you have it, because tomorrow is not promised. And that's what so many people miss. And that's why we continuously have to defend our position. So, this move has definitely come with its challenges. Some of the people who come to the garage sale even want to give us their 2 cents about it. It's like, I didn't ask you for your opinion, but anyway, you're going to give it to me, obviously. But you listen, and I try to be open-minded to what they have to say, and I don't want to block out good advice, but we've also met a lot of people who have done a similar move, and they say, yeah, you know what, you got to just kind of pack up your shit and go, and let it be what it's going to be, and enjoy your life and do it for you. And don't worry about what anybody else says, because You're not living your life for them. You're living it for you. So you got to do what's right for you. Life is too short to have regrets. And I know for sure that if we contracted back into comfort, I would regret it. I know that for sure. I would rather sell all of my stuff, go in pursuit of this life, and be disappointed or redirected or, whatever, find out it's not for me, and come back, or, change direction or try something else, than to stay where I am and regret not at least seeing if it was the right thing. Right? So let this vlog video diary of our situation and us navigating outside opinions be your permission to do what feels right for you without worrying about what anybody else's opinion is. Because I swear to God, everything that I have done, and I really started noticing it once I became a mom, everybody has something to say. Everybody has an opinion. Everybody thinks their point of view is the right one. No matter what you do, you're not going to be able to please everybody anyway. So the only person you need to worry about pleasing and being content with your decisions is yourself. Because if you're living your life to please other people or caring what other people think, and you don't want to step on any toes, I don't want to say the wrong thing, I don't want people to think I'm weird, I don't want this, I don't want that, well then, you know what? You're not living your life for you. And that's a complete waste of time. Like, you might as well go jump off a bridge, honestly. You need to live your life unapologetically as who you are and what's important to you, and be okay with being misunderstood. But on the flip side of that, you also open yourself up to allowing yourself to be inspirational to other people. Like, the more you can be, the more beneficial you are to the world, because you then give other people permission to be themselves and pursue what they want and need, and so on and so on and so on. And that's the ripple effect I hope to create with this video diary series and my adventure in my life and my career. That's really the impact I want to leave on the world, is that your greatest gift you can give to yourself and to the world and to the people you love and everybody around you is to live your life under your terms, unapologetically, whatever that looks like, for the highest and best of all involved, and let that permission you give yourself to ripple out to the people around you so that they can do the same. Because if everybody in the world was living in integrity with who they actually are and what they actually want to do, instead of what they think they should be doing, or what this person says they should do, or what their mom thinks they should do, or what their dad thinks they should do, or what society deems as normal, or, the world would be such a better place, because everybody would be living in peace and harmony with themselves. And that would be rippling out to everybody else. And it would just be it would be magical, So that's a legacy I hope to leave behind. And I hope that I can create while I'm still living, and I can see the effects of while I'm still around, because and that's something I really help my clients with, is finding out who they really are and what's really important to them and what they're here to do, whatever that looks like, and to live that version of themselves unapologetically, so that they can create the life that they are here to live. Like, your soul came here to live a life. And the only reason you don't feel as good as you could is because some part of you, or all parts of you, are resisting that truth. Because when you are living fully in integrity with who you're supposed to be, like who you came here to be, the life that your soul came here to live, when you're living in integrity with that, you're at peace, right? You go back to your natural state, which is just awareness, and you can enjoy life for what it is supposed to be, right? But it's in the resistance of that. It's in the resistance of who we are actually truly, like who we truly are, that creates the anxiety and the depression